You have to like use like your whole pinky finger of talent instead of just part of your pinky finger of your talent.
No, it's not even the talent thing. It's just juggling a lot.
Yeah. It is Friday Junior, so I mean that's always how it goes when you got something good coming up. Like I have found typically when you're gonna leave a place, you're more busy than before you're gonna leave that place. Right? Like when you've got like 2 weeks left or a month left or whatever, it's like all of a sudden you're super busy.
Sure. Yep. But I'm not leaving any place.
I was gonna say, where are you going? I didn't know you were going anywhere.
Nope, I'm not.
You're not.
No, I just have a lot of different spinning plates to keep in the air.
How did your dryer turn out, Steve?
Championship level. I'm not sure which was more impressive to myself, the fact that I fixed it, or the fact that I put it all back together with no leftover parts or screws.
Wow. See, that is just hot. That is like that is a major turn on for any woman.
That's funny.
There's this lady I follow on TikTok. I think her name is Not the Worst Mom. And so she just showed up on my For You page and she was like, I was super busy today. I couldn't do anything, like plan for anything for dinner. And she's like, my husband is, he had gone out and he had gotten like a frozen lasagna. And so she was like, he's getting a blowjob tonight. Right. And so everybody's like, all these people were like coming after her. Like, why would you do that? That's, it's all bad. And she's like, look, like, it's just, he recognized that like I wasn't going to be able to do it and did it. It's not like I asked him to or anything like that. Yeah. And it's just how they have stuff worked out. I don't think that guys operate that same way. Like, I don't know. I can't speak for everybody. I can only speak for myself, but I don't think there's ever been like, yeah, I don't ever think I've felt that urge like that. I don't know, Steve.
Felt the urge to what?
I don't know. I'd have to think about that, and I don't know that I have the mental capacity to process that whole thing. All I know is this was an incredibly successful adventure that did not require 25 trips to Home Depot. It did not, my aggravation level was not through the roof. It took a little bit of time for me to kind of figure out what the problem was. And of course having to take apart like all the panels of my dryer to see what the issue was, which it's not like I'm fixing a dryer every day like like your technicians are, and they know exactly what to check and know exactly what the symptoms mean. It's like I don't know. So I was kind of going in blind, and I came out the other end through the finish line, breaking the tape, and so it was good. Yep.
I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
Nice. Was it the belt like you thought?
It was. It was.
Did the belt break?
It did. And I should have known that because like 2 years ago I was fixing another issue where the wheel pulleys, the tension pulleys, had gotten all foobarred and I had to replace those. And when I replaced them, I was like, well, this belt is in pretty bad shape. And then that thought went out of my head and completely cleared it from my cache to make room for a bunch of irrelevant factoids that I keep in my head. And so I should have known, but I did not. And when I realized, oh, it's the belt, I went, oh yeah, I remember there were some frayed edges of the belt 2 years ago. Anyway, live and learn. There you have it.
Nice.
There's my dryer story.
I have a very little story, similar, but not even like as big. So my daughter's birthday was a couple weeks ago, and I bought her a wireless karaoke machine, like with microphone, and you set it up to your TV and you can sing karaoke. And so last night I spent 2 hours on setting this stupid thing up. And I'm like, I have done this before. I am smart. I can do this. And I'm going on YouTube and I'm trying to like look at the videos, and they're just unboxing videos. There's not like how to set it up videos. And I have a Sonos system. So I'm like, I'm trying to connect it to my Sonos system, but I need a plug, and I need to plug it in here and plug it into my sound bar, but my sound bar doesn't have a stupid plug. And I'm like, I don't get it. And I realized that it's my Sonos system. I don't have the current version, like the most recent, where I can plug it in to the device.
You have the S1.
Yes. And so I went down in my basement, and my basement's old school. So that's like 10 years old but I have a theater and I have awesome sound system. And those plugs were immediately right there. It took me less than 2 minutes. I plugged it in, I said testing, and it worked. And I'm like, yay, I can figure it out. It wasn't me, it was the stupid system. But it was 2 hours of me figuring that out.
Sure. You know, that's interesting. I've had issues, and I love my Sonos. Like, I absolutely love it.
Yeah.
But I've had a couple of interesting hiccups along the way that were not immediately obvious with it.
Yep.
So, yeah. Well done.
That's my
That is hot. That is hot.
I texted my boyfriend. I texted my best friends. I'm like, I am so proud of myself. I figured this out. That's what I said. That's hot. I can figure it out.
Yep. Ethan, tell us your problem solved story. That's so hot. Come on.
I don't know. Like everything?
I don't know.
I mean, it's a typical story of like, a parent that is in that role where they just make things work for the family, right? Yep. So I think a lot of like fathers would identify with that, or single parents. I'm sure that there are some people that are, anybody can identify in that role, but it's like the funniest one I think is with the doorknob to the bathroom. It just aged out, like it died, the doorknob to the bathroom or something, or it was going, and so I decided to switch it before it actually broke. And so I spent the time to go get a new one, and then but the house is like super old. It's hilarious. So, and we've got like all these extra doorknobs in places, so the new ones don't necessarily fit in the doors. And the front door of the house it's like 1.5 times wide a normal door. It's the funniest thing ever. And then the doorknob is like 3 or 4 inches into the door from the outside. It's so weird. Anyway, so I go and I spend the time to fix the doorknob, and I'm fighting with it for a little bit just because it's old. And I'm like, awesome, that was great. Now it works like really good, right? And nobody cared, because to them it just kept working like it normally did. Right.
They didn't understand the intricacies involved in the solution.
Right.
And really, they're probably thinking, well, it's just a doorknob. How hard could it be? But only you know.
Yep.
The depth of the expertise that was involved. Yep.
It's like that Malcolm in the Middle scene or whatever. What does he got to replace, like a light bulb? And I see a lot of developers use that as like why they're doing something completely different than what they started out doing. And it's because as he goes along, he's got to do all this other stuff. And I think he's like sitting in the car, and she's, what are you doing? He's like, I'm trying to replace the light bulb, but he's got to do like 50 other things to replace the light bulb. It's how it is with a lot of stuff. Mm-hmm. Even just hobbies, right? Lots of troubleshooting and problem solving with hobbies. Like you're painting miniatures, Steve, and doing all that stuff. Like, I'm sure you're like, I've done this before. It's going to take me like 2 hours. And then 10 hours later, you're like, why am I only a quarter of the way done with this? What the hell?
Yeah. Yep. That is very true. The unintentional unanticipated Rube Goldberg to get to the simple solution.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. I did. Let's see. I did proactive maintenance on our dryer. I'm like, I think the tube's clogged, like the vent from the dryer to the part that connects to the house that goes out. I'm like, I think that's clogged, and we've probably got some lint on the inside of the dryer. I'll take it apart, even though I've never done that before. And I watched like one YouTube video. I'm like, I know what I'm doing. Let's go. There's so much lint everywhere, and the pipe they'd used like the hard metal piping because it's an older house. So, but then things that I didn't know, like when you took the back off, there are these gaskets. Well, they were the original on the machine, so they were all shot, and nobody had them in stock anywhere. I did find one, and then the bottom one, which I don't know but there's like a fatter gasket on the top and a smaller gasket on the bottom. Nobody has the smaller one. It's going to take like 2 weeks to get it. I'm like, I'll just go get some small weather stripping, and if it starts on fire, it starts on fire. But then replaced. So the dryer was apart for like 2 or 3 days while I was trying to get the parts. Then replace like the vent with a new like fancy one. Still don't have the right gasket. Still got to order that, but I just put the weather strip. It's working fine for now.
You know, speaking of getting those parts, so I had to get the belt, right? And I don't even remember the name of the site that I had to get it from, but I just kind of went online.
Yep.
They had the greatest website which you would think, how great can a website be to find a part you need for a dryer, right? But it was like, I plugged in my model number and found the belt, but not only that, but so I found it like quickly, but then the description of the belt was clear, it was concise, and I matched it up to my torn up, broken belt and went, yeah, this is totally it. The description was bar none, like perfect. And when I ordered it, I had so much confidence that I was ordering the right part. How often does that happen?
Yeah, there was lots of looking for this part, and I'm like, maybe Amazon's got it, but I didn't have confidence that it was gonna do what like it said it was gonna do. So I'm like, well, now I gotta suck it up and find a place that might be local, or I just gotta wait the 2 weeks. But I mean, you can only have not have a dryer for so long. We don't live in an area where there's like a laundromat around, so it's that dryer or a new one or something.
And who knows these days, who knows how long it's going to take due to supply chain issues to get a new dryer.
Yeah. Yep.
It took me like 4 months to get a fridge.
Seriously?
Yeah. Fortunately, my old one, which I knew was kind of like, it was dying, it was on its last legs, it was making noise, it was peeing on the floor regularly, you know, that kind of thing. Fortunately, it stayed in there, it hung in there for me like a champ until the new one was ready.
Nice.
Well, I need to knock on wood to not have anything die on me. Because I'm not going to do any of the stuff that you talked about. I'm not going to watch YouTube videos. I'm not going to try to figure out what parts it is. I'm not going to take shit apart and then try to put it back together. Fuck no. So I'm just going to buy a new one. Whatever it is.
Are you worried that you might jump your own bones if you do a good job?
I might be too hot. Like, is there such thing as being too hot?
There's a song about that.
If I did that all by myself, I don't know. Men would just be like knocking down my doors. Like, I gotta get with her.
I'm sure there are guys that are like, yeah, that's hot. I'm sure they're right there with you.
Do you have that in like your dating profile? Like, what are your turn-ons? A man who can fix the dryer. A guy who can replace the ice maker in the fridge. A guy who can look up YouTube videos and replace the blade on the lawnmower.
If I had a profile, if I had a dating profile, I would. I call that a man who works well with his hands. In more ways than one.
Yeah, double entendre. Yep.
Yep.
Got it. Tracking.
I'm tracking.
So, I just gotta tell the story because it's hilarious. So I was on a call with a team, and one of the people they have this same microphone that I have, but they have it on their desk. And Zoom, the tool that we use for communicating, it has it'll automatically adjust the volume of your microphone. And you can turn that off. Most people don't. Like, it just automatically does it. So, like the way that I have it set up, if I move the mic from my mouth, it'll be like it's moving away from my mouth. If I were to turn that on, it would automatically amp it up even more and more the farther away it got. So it's like stand up, and we're there, and we're talking, and there was a pause, and all of a sudden we hear clear as day. We just hear this. Like, what the? So I'm laughing because there's this guy that used to make YouTube videos. His name is John, and NNB which stands for Noobs and Boobs, which is awesome. But NNB Gaming. And so one time they were playing games, and they legit, somebody farted and their microphone picked it up. So that's what I thought. I'm like, well, that didn't sound like a fart, but that is this scenario. Somebody had something and everybody heard it, and I was going to let it go, even though I was laughing so hard in my head. They could not let it go. Someone else was like, did someone's stomach just growl? Who was that? And we had a good 5-minute discussion about someone's stomach was growling because their mic was too close to their stomach.
That's hilarious.
I just like that they couldn't let it go. They had to call it out. And credit to the person that had it happen, because they were straight faced. Like, really? They weren't gonna say anything. They knew what happened, but nope.
So there was no admission of guilt, even after being called out?
No, after they got called out, they did 100%.
Oh,
but
okay.
Before they weren't letting on as to what happened.
I would have smiled if that was me. Like, I do not have a poker face. I'd be like, I don't know. Yeah, I'm bad at that.
I would have said something like, that was totally my stomach, and I'm leaving the meeting now to go get something to eat.
Mm-hmm.
Peace out.
I was at like 9 a.m.
If it was stand-up, it was at 9.
Mm-hmm.
If it was like planning, then it was probably closer to like 11.
Mm.
Somewhere between 9 and 11 in the day. Either way, inappropriate time for stomach to be making noises.
Yeah. They must be doing like intermittent fasting or something, where they haven't eaten for 24 hours or something.
Anything else burning a hole in your pocket, Steve?
Yes. I'm sure you're aware of some big news that occurred at a place we work. But I'm not sure I want to talk much about it on this.
Oh, okay. Well, then this is over.